Dalek Master Plan, which we did in 2007, was the last stage show. My fifth stage show, but I think of the ones we did, ones I did with Rob as like the four, a quadrilogy, if you like, if that's the right word. Is that a word, quadrilogy? Yes, it is. Of four. So we did Web of Fear, Fury from the Deep, The Evil of the Daleks, the Dalek Master Plan. And because Evil of the Daleks we did in 2006, obviously after Doctor Who had returned in such a hail of triumph, because Fury from the Deep was 2002 and we still didn't know it was coming back then, and we had the idea to do something else, because in 2004, when they started filming the series and everything was getting exciting, it's coming back soon, I was getting itchy feet. I would like to do something Doctor Who-ish again, because it'd been a few years since Fury from the Deep. And my youngest daughter, who was, how old was she then? She was 3 then. She started noticing my Daleks around the house and said, "Oh, what's that, Daddy?" And I said, "That's a Dalek." And I tried to explain it to her what it was, and I said, "I'll show you, I'll put that video on." It was a videotape. I had DVDs by then, but none of relevance. Anyway, I'm waffling, sorry. And I put this tape in to show what a Dalek was, and it happened to be the Dalek Early Years tape, and it was part 2 of Evil of the Daleks. And a little light bulb went on in my head, and I thought, oh, maybe we could do a Millennium Trap style fan film of Evil of the Daleks, or an episode or something. So I phoned Rob about it, and he said, "Well, that's a good idea. Why don't we try and do a stage show?" And I thought, oh God, it's coming back, they'll never let us do it. He said, "Oh, let's try, blah, 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 blah." Anyway, so I contacted the BBC, and they were happy for us to do it, because they didn't know how, this was in 2004, they didn't know how it was going to be received, and also they said, "We're happy to give you the license because we know you," and blah, blah. And I said, well, the thing is, we can only, because of what's going on, the only slot we have will be in 2 years' time, in 2006. I said, yeah, that's fine. So the great thing about the last 2 stage shows was that we didn't just sell a nice amount of tickets from Whovians and friends and family that we'd done before. We sold out the entire theatre over a 5-night run, and it was a hit. And when something like that happens, it really does make you go a bit wow. And so it was obvious that we should try and do another one, or possibly another 2. So we tried to get permission after 2006. We already had permission, there's nothing they could do about that. And they wouldn't let us do it initially for 2007, but I pushed and pushed and pushed, and eventually the big man himself said, "I'll let him do it one more time, just once more, because they've done a lot," which was really nice of them. And we did Dalek Master Plan. So we kind of knew that the Dalek Master Plan would be the end, the final end, as it were. So that's kind of why I put the nod in at the end of it to regenerate. We got the great moment when I regenerated into Nick Briggs, who did the Dalek voices for us. Lovely moment, but it seemed to fit, because I knew that we wouldn't be able to do this again. It was a nice, and it was a very special production, Dark Master Plan. It was very, very special in many ways. And so yeah, because originally I thought it would be lovely if we could do the trilogy of the 3 lost Dalek stories, because when we did Evil, we said, we must try and do another one. Everyone was saying, oh, well, obviously it'd be Power of the Daleks. And I just said, no, I want to do the Dalek Master Plan. Everyone's jaw hit the floor, said, you're mad. I said, no, what? And the idea was that Power is very similar to Evil in many ways. It's quite an intense, intimate story. Same writer, same sort of ethos. So it would be better to go away from that. So that's why we went for the Dalek Master Plan. So there was always a slight disappointment in the back of my mind that we never got a chance to do Power of the Daleks. And I'd even made some preliminary notes on how to make it work on stage, and that. So there was always a possibility. The only possibility we were ever going to do it again was to do another fan film. And there were various attempts in the intervening years, because Master Plan was 2007 and we filmed Power in 2011. So there's a few years between them, and tried to get it off the ground a couple of times, and it didn't work for one reason or another. And eventually we did manage to do it as the found film, and I think because Rob was in a position then to really go whole hog into it with studio and HD cameras and a full crew, and it was light years away from the Millennium Trap. Great that the Millennium Trap is that it belongs to its era, and Power of the Daleks belongs to its modern era. And perhaps of all the Doctor Who stuff I've done, Power of the Daleks is the thing I'm most proud of, because it really does work. I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but it does work. You can sit down and watch it and think, oh, that's an episode of Doctor Who. I'm very, very proud of that. I'm proud of everyone who was involved in it. It just worked. But playing the Doctor again in it, obviously, having done a lot of stage stuff, it was kind of back to the Millennium Trap underplaying ethos. But of course, by then I'd really found my Doctor, as opposed to letting it come out through technique, which is what happened in the Millennium Trap. So it was quite easy to just do it. And also for the last two stage plays, I'd done the scripts for them, for Evil and Master Plan. Rob had done the scripts for Fear and Fear from the Deep. And then with Power, we sort of wrote it together. I would write bits, and we'd have script meetings, and he acted as like a script editor. The great thing about Rob is he can see how things work. And if I'd written this thing and he said, "You will never get that done," okay, blah, blah, blah. And he's got a very good editor's eye. And the other great thing, when you're writing with someone, of course, you can come up with what you think is a fantastic line of dialogue, and someone else will see it and say, "I think that's pants." And you've got to go with that, because you think, if someone else thinks that's pants, I'm probably wrong. So change it. And Rob's very good at that, and we came up with this wonderful script that just worked. And so my Doctor in Power of the Daleks was kind of sculpted around a mixture of necessity of what we could do. The character not only as I knew it, but as I could create it, because it was the first original script I'd written for my Doctor, apart from Planet Storms, which was so long ago, and I was just the Doctor. So I could write for my own Doctor with an editor's eye, which is very important. So that was good. And I think doing the script of Power and playing in Power of the Daleks, it means I can read any script, any Doctor script, and know straight that's not a line for my Doctor. I need to change that and that and that. And I go down, yes, fine, nope, that's not one of his lines. So I just know it. It's kind of, the character slips on to me and slips into my psyche as easily as my brown corduroy jacket. It really is, yeah. It works like that now. It's kind of, the Doctor always is a slight extension of yourself. It's not like a lot of characters. All characters are an extension of yourself. But the Doctor is very much part of you, and I can slip into it now very easily.